Okay, we'll start with Martin. He was born in Geneva. He was the youngest child of 10, the most musical, and he had a major event when he was around 10 or 11 in which he was taken to a performance of the Bach St. Matthew Passion, and he was just transported. He said, he called this the event of my life. I followed the Passion from end to end, not knowing where I was. I was, in any case, no longer in the hall. I was as if transported to heaven. He did have a religious upbringing, so. And then when he wrote his own oratorio, he had to overcome this sense of unworthiness because he didn't feel equal to Bach. But he did write it in 1922, and then some other movements in 1924. And then 2 years passed, and he wrote at the Agnus Dei, the end, the last movement, which is in some ways the culminating and most interesting, most elaborate movement of them all. So it was curious that he had 2 years go by and then felt ready to do the final movement. Then he put it away. He thought it was not going to be possible to have it performed in the way that he wanted. He would have liked it performed as part of a church service, but he realized that that wasn't going to be possible. I think he was already a pretty well-known composer, and he said it would have ended up being a media event, which he would not want. And it was at that point that he decided that it was an affair between him and God, and that it would therefore go into a drawer. I don't know if he knew it would stay in the drawer for 40 years, but that's what happened. Now, as it says in the most recent edition, ambitious choirs perform it quite a lot. But since it's unaccompanied, a cappella, and divides into at least 8 and sometimes more parts, it's a hard piece, and choruses don't undertake it lightly. I could tell you how I first ran into it. I think it was in the 1980s, and it was an American Choral Directors Convention, I'm pretty sure. It was done by a professional choir, and I thought it was really beautiful. I hadn't heard of any avocational choir ever performing it. So when I decided to do it the first time, I really made a lot of plans as to how we could manage something so tricky. I did it in March. And so that worked really well. And it was part of an all Franck Martin program in which there was chamber music, and the chamber chorus did a wonderful Shakespeare setting of his. And we got a review in which they said we did a good job. So in the New York Times, that was very exciting. The singers loved it, and then we did it again, and they loved it again, and another 10 years passed, we did it again, and they loved it again. And so the last time was 2008, and so I thought, well, 11 years, we can come back to it. About why do I love this piece? That is so hard to say. I find it extremely beautiful and very moving. I find that it has interesting contrasts. There's a lot of polyphony, voice against voice, fugal entrances, all the things that singers love to do. If you wonder what you should be listening for as you are in concert, I would say the contrasts. There's a lot of dynamic variation, long melodies as opposed to repeated things that are an accompaniment, romantic harmony, use of sevenths and ninths. So with it, I happen to have a lot of short pieces, mostly sacred but not entirely, which I had been waiting to do. I'd been sort of collecting them over many years, things I hear at other people's concerts or CDs that I buy and listen to. And so I assembled a group that chamber chorus would do well, I thought. I listened to a lot of things on YouTube. Nowadays you get a very good idea of what's a popular piece because of the number of times it's been recorded and put up on YouTube. And so that's interesting. I turned to a piece by Halsey Stevens, an American from the West Coast, for a cycle for men's voices, because it's nice to have one thing that's not just 3 minute, 3 minute, 3 minute unrelated pieces, so we did that. Composers that are particularly in vogue now, who I also think are good composers, are Eric Esenwald, so we did one of his, and Arvo Pärt.